Kreepers.
Right. We are here in beautiful downtown Gresham. Kind of just starting the day off. Wanted to start it off on a kind of a lighter note. Today's creep's a little different than I guess you would say most of the ones we normally do. I always try and keep the channel as lighthearted as possible, and that's why I wanted to kind of start in the beautiful downtown Gresham area here, because it is always very, it is always very peaceful and beautiful. And speaking of which, look at this 56 T-bird, I believe it is. Absolutely gorgeous. But today's vlog is a little different, and the reason why I say that is because we are going to be creeping about something that happened to me back in the late 90s. Gosh, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was about 96, 97, something like that. I know I was still in high school. I actually graduated from Gresham High School in 1999. So if that gives you guys any kind of info as to my age and such, that would probably be it. But like I said, I did graduate in 99, and from about 96, the end of 96 till I graduated in 99, I worked at the BP gas station, which was just adjacent to the college, not the college, oh boy, there's a ton of glass here. Don't want to get on the tires. Wow, that's not good. And I pumped gas at the BP right next to the school, so I was able to just go to school and then go right to work. And I worked the 2 to 10 shift, probably about 5, I think it was 4 or 5 days out of the week, 10, 12-hour days. And it was fun, I have to say. It taught me a lot, and being able to see all the classic cars roll through and stuff on the weekends was always cool. But the gas station also had a car wash. All right, rolling past. Well, they just recently redid it here in the last couple of years. It looks really pretty. And this was it, though. Gresham High School, where I graduated. They kind of left this old school looking piece here, retro looking. And I'm glad they kept the tree. Many a days hanging under that tree. So yeah, I would walk from here, from school, and just walk right over here to the gas station where we're heading next. And I'll tell you why this gas station and car wash is tied into this story. These guys are painting those lines. Dang, that's hard work. I think it's almost like a rubber kind of paint. Yep, that's hard work. All right, let's move on to the gas station. We are here, which is now mobile. But when I worked here, this was the BP. And back in here, right behind it, was the other station, which is now, or you know, other parts of the pumps, which is now a little food cart area. But the owners also owned this car wash here. And they decided that they were doing such a good job with the car wash here, scrubbies, that they would actually open another one not too far from here, and that's where we're heading next. In that part of the story, gets a little dark. I do like this Cadillac on here. I think, or maybe it's a Chevy, 57 Chevy. And the neon there. But yeah, they had 2 car washes, this being one of them. And the reason why I'm here is because they decided that they were gonna open another one just not too far from here, and that's where we're heading next. All right, and the reason for me showing you guys the gas station is it, like I said, roughly 96, 97, I had and acquired a Volkswagen Bug that was like my pride and joy. It was a 1965. I got as a gift a 74 Super Beetle, and I fixed it all up, and I sold it for $1,000, and I was able to purchase, with the money that I earned from the gas station as well, the 65 Bug, and I would park it right up front in front of the gas station pumps, and also would park it adjacent to the car wash, so anybody coming through there, they knew I was working, or they saw the Bug. You couldn't miss it. Metallic blue, white roof rack, mud flaps, all decked out. I had just had it painted. It was almost the same color as the Creeper Cruiser, and me and my buddy actually painted it in his garage. Like I said, it was my pride and joy. And so on my days off, I said, heck it, let's not have any days off. Let's work the car wash. And so the owners of the gas station said, hey, if you want to work on your days off up at the car wash and make some extra money, and we can do that. So they went ahead and purchased this little car wash that I'm taking you guys to. And it is no longer there. It's no longer operating, but there are remnants of where it sat. And I also want to tell you what happened that day. It really does kind of lead me to think and kind of mostly believe I could have died that day very easily. And I played my cards kind of chill. I think it saved my life. All right, just pulling up here kind of gives me the willies. As you can see, there is nothing here at all other than this beaten path with actual some of the concrete left. But this is it. This is where I almost died that day. And I don't think if I would have, well, I know if I wouldn't have played it basically exactly how I did, I probably wouldn't be here to make this video. Like I said, it's been years since I've been even back in there. But the car wash sat right there. You would drive in down this little, you know, driveway here and kind of turn in, and it was just a really tiny, little tiny stand right here. Well, what happened was, like I said, I was parked in front of the gas station a lot, and there was a handful of people that had Volkswagen Beetles back then, and we were would always talk about V-dub and share, you know, Volkswagen, you know, things and parts and ideas. And, you know, I'm gonna leave names and things out because it's been years and I really don't want, you know, I believe criminal charges were already, you know, he was already prosecuted and whatnot. I didn't really follow through with it. I was just happy to have survived this, really. But what happened was I was actually here working that Saturday, and I'll never forget, it's like it was just yesterday. This here across the street, this little building here, which is a car lot, was Mike's Market. And I ran across the street to grab a cold cola. And when I came back across the street here to go back into the little, you know, the little spot where you would take the money, it was just a little tiny one-man, you know, little like shed kind of thing. And I noticed out of the corner of my eye a white Scirocco that was parked up here on the street. And I thought, well, that's cool. You know, you don't really see Scirocco's, and then, you know, with it being V-dub too, I obviously noticed it right away. So I was working and everything was going fine. I was actually on the phone. There was a little, you know, back in the day, people had landlines where you could actually get on a landline and talk with folks. So I would, you know, call my friends and whatnot, and wasn't really thinking much of it. And all of a sudden, the white Scirocco comes down like it's gonna come into the car wash, and so as I turn around, I just see the door fly open, and this guy comes running in, scary as heck, pushes me up against the little area where you would, you know, attend, and puts a pistol right at my, underneath my chin, and says, you know, if you ever come by my house or ever accuse me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he was definitely on something. Couldn't really understand what he was saying. He wasn't really making full coherent sense. All I knew is I had a pistol under my chin and put my hands up. He said, put your hands down. And now that I think about it in hindsight, he didn't want anybody from afar to see me with my hands up, thinking he might be robbing the place. So I popped the till thinking, well, he's just trying to get the till. And it wasn't like that. He was just upset that my friend Glenn actually figured out he was the one who had stole my VW Bug about a week prior, right after having it painted. And I was here that morning, totally bummed, and, you know, still upset that the Bug was gone. I did end up getting it back. It was totally stripped, and the tires at the time were very kind of a more of a rare style of wheel. They were called MP5 spokes. And MP5 spokes, not a lot of folks had them on their Bug. They're kind of an aftermarket thing. And a lot of people had, you know, the basic moon caps, the stock caps. Mine had the MP5s. And when they stole the Bug, they actually took the wheels and tires, which were brand new. So it was a huge bummer. Plus, when they did it, they marred up the paint and did everything they could to really just destroy it, strip it completely down. And my friend Glenn happened to just be driving around one day and actually saw a Bug that looked similar to mine. It was really, you know, really similar, he said, but white, but it did have the MP5s. And mine were like a custom powder coated wheel. They weren't chrome, they were powder coated. And these ones had been, you know, rattle canned. He could tell whoever had them, you know, just kind of cheaply rattle canned them. So push comes to shove, when the police went to his house, somewhere along the lines, he found out that I worked here. I'm not sure if somebody tipped him off at the gas station, if when my buddy rolled up on him that day in his driveway, maybe somehow he recognized him as being it, because he worked at the gas station at BP with me as well. A whole bunch of us did. And so who knows, maybe he recognized him when he drove by, but somehow he pieced together that I worked here as well on my days off. And he came up in here with a pistol, and, you know, like I said, I thought it was a, you know, a robbery, but at that point he was just really upset, and, you know, said if you ever, you know, come by my house or telling me again, or whatever the scenario was, you know, that he'd be back. And I do specifically remember hearing the gun make some kind of noise. I'm not sure if he actually cocked it or, you know, or pulled it or however it works, but I did hear the pistol make some kind of noise. And I tell you what, talk about never forgetting a spot or a moment in time. And after that, I basically just called it and said, hey, you know, I'm not really making as much as I thought I would working here, so I'm pretty much going to stay at the gas station where there's other people about. And eventually they did have 2 people manning it and tried to make it work, but obviously you can see that it's seen better days. You can't really see any of the remnants of where the building once sat, other than you can still see quite clearly where you would have drove in. But yeah, I would come right down here every day to work, and did not expect that day to have, you know, a pistol put under my chin like that. And really every time I came by here since then, I've gotten that weird vibe. And I don't know if you guys get that as well when you maybe experience something, you know, not so quite good, or maybe even as extreme and as raw as this, where, you know, real time happens to you and you just don't really forget the place. So I kind of wanted to share that with you guys, more of a personal story about the car wash. And pretty much the day, I feel like if I didn't handle it how I did, just very calmly, it may have escalated, and not have been as good. But yeah, it's just weird coming up here, actually just being here. I'll go treat myself to an ice cream or something. So yeah, to kind of get back to the story, that day was really scary, and if it wasn't for my buddy Glenn noticing those wheels, I probably would have never figured out who actually took the bug, which was a bummer. You know, I got it back and slowly was able to repair things, you know, and no one got hurt. So kind of just one of those weird stories I wanted to share with you guys. I promised you guys earlier this year that I'd be a little bit more personable and we would do more of these, you know, personal vlogs. And the last one we did is when we visited my childhood house. So I figured, heck it, I'd tell you guys a little bit more about, you know, the jobs that I had and that crazy story. And I do remember the police coming to the house saying that they did apprehend, you know, that guy, and talking to me about how he had a criminal past and whatnot. And they were just really happy that, you know, I told them the whole thing, and they were just really happy that no one got hurt, and just kind of unfortunate that things ended up that way. But I was stoked to actually get the bug back. And like I said, my buddy at the time that found the bug, because of the wheels, we were actually able to get the wheels back and kind of just had some extra paint and detailed up some of the spots they had kind of marred out and stuff. But now I'm heading to Mickey D's because I need me a coffee and an ice cream after that kind of long-winded, you know, not so positive, I guess you would say, story, but really a personal story about my life, and I wanted to share it with you. And I know it's something that we don't normally talk about on the channel. I usually try and keep it really upbeat, but like I said, I wanted to give you guys just a little glimpse as to, you know, just kind of how things happened, kind of growing up and doing different jobs and things. So off to get an ice cream. I love you guys. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button if you already haven't. You can ring that bell, that way when I creep, you guys will be the first to creep. Until next time, Creeper out for now. Peace.